Jeremiah 1:5 shows us that God knows us before he forms us in the womb. Psalm 139:13-16 speaks of God's active role in our creation and formation in the womb. All the information needed for a baby to develop in the womb is present at conception. So we know that when there's a baby inside of a womb, this is a human being made in the image of God. Genesis 1:26-27. So today I'm going to go through 3 different things to think about regarding abortion. Number 1, let's look at beforehand. What should we think beforehand? What should a person think beforehand if they're considering an abortion? I'm going to go through 3 things. Number 1, that is, like we just read, a human being. It's not a blob. It's not a zygote. You might watch a few videos of what a baby looks like in the womb. Ask the nurse to hear the heartbeat. There's different things that you can do to help you just come to that realization that what's inside of you is a human being. Number 2, avoid impulse decisions. Very rarely do impulse decisions ever work out in our life, especially in regards to big decisions. It's one thing to have an impulse decision and say, oh, I think I'm going to go to a restaurant today and I'm going to go get something to eat. That's one thing, but big decisions in our life, impulse decisions, very, very rarely ever work out. And don't let fear rule your decision. God does not want us living in fear. The enemy oftentimes will throw fear at us and try to get us to be afraid of the future. But God will always give us peace and hope for the future. The third thing to look at is going to be the long-term consequences. There are physical, there are emotional, spiritual consequences to getting an abortion. Doctors say that physically, it could make it difficult for you to have a baby in the future, or maybe even impossible. So that's a possible complication. Emotional, the guilt from it, the spiritual, there's always spiritual consequences when we sin, and abortion is murder. So it is a sin. So now having said that, we can be forgiven by God. Abortion is not a worse sin than another sin. We can come to Jesus and ask for forgiveness, but there will be scars that will come into your life because of this, and it will take God some time to heal from those scars. So something to think about beforehand, before actually getting an abortion if you're considering one. Number 2, we're going to look at if you've had one, and this is in particular to Christians. Why would you encourage someone else to get one? I've seen different circumstances before where people who at the very least claim to be a believer will encourage other people to get abortions. Now, why would you, knowing the physical, emotional, spiritual consequences from getting an abortion, why would you encourage someone else to do that? That to me just doesn't make sense. If we're a true believer in Christ, then we should never encourage other people to sin. So that's just not a very good thing to do. It's very wrong. So that as Christians, we should not be doing things like that. Number 3, lastly, there is forgiveness and healing at the foot of the cross if you've had an abortion. So, there's no sin too big for God to forgive. I don't know, what the feeling would be of having done something like that, although I have had some pretty big things happen in my life before that have left me scarred, but God has healed me from those things. So I do know what it's like for God to be able to heal a person from big things in their life. So I know God is able. If God is able to heal me, he can most certainly heal you too. So those are 3 things regarding abortion, guys. God bless you. I hope this encourages you, and for some people that it will cause you to think twice about having one done if you're considering that. God bless you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.